And we're back. Okay, now our first video really talked about the introduction to Canvas, showing you how to log in, what the different menu options were for on the main screen, taking you into a course, and showing you how to set up your navigation, how to build modules, how all the different items within modules worked. So if you haven't seen that, that's really a prerequisite for this video, so I would really please ask that you go back and watch that one. This is the FastTrack version, so hold on to your seat. We're going to go very, very quickly. Where we are now, we're in the test course, and we have gone ahead and set up the navigation. So I'm going to cover the other options that are here within settings. Course details, these are things that you as an instructor should never have to change, and I would ask that you please don't change them, but you can just look here and see what is here. If you see something that looks horribly wrong, please notify the help desk. Different sections. This one's a big one with Canvas, so I'm going to start with this one right up front. You can run Canvas exactly the same way that we operate at Blackboard. I know that this is not a transitionary video, but I do need to cover this because it's important. You can operate one section in Canvas for one section of class that you teach. So if you teach Bio 101 Web and Bio 101 Web 1 and Bio 101 Web 2, you can have 3 separate courses in Canvas. But you can also notify us and say, I want to collapse those together. If we collapse those together, then you have one course within Canvas, but you'll see those 3 separate sections here. What that allows you to do is only have one place to make changes, one place to enter grades, one place to change anything that you need to change. That also allows you to have one gradebook. Now, well, don't worry about that. The gradebook still allows you to keep everything separated by sections. That also allows, and this could be interesting in some departments if they wanted to do this, to have one set of materials with multiple sections with different instructors. Because you would not be able to grade items or even see the grades of students who were not in your section, but you still have all the same course material. You could still participate in discussions, and you could have multiple students participating in class discussions. So if you thought a class of 25, you have 4 sections of 100 students, discussions could be a lot more lively with 100 students versus 25. Group assignments could be a lot more lively with online with 100 students versus 25, or you could still continue to keep those separate if they were doing things in class and still just have your material separated out in the classroom and changed out within the gradebook itself by sections. So you can combine or keep separate in Canvas, combine, keep separate in the classroom, however you'd like to do that. What you do need to do is let us know, preferably before you start doing a whole lot of work in the term. So that can be really, really kind of handy. You will not have an add section button. That's an IT thing only, an admin thing only.
One quick question.
Question, yes ma'am.
If you say I collapse my Anatomy 1 class.
Okay.
And I have 2 sections, but one is Monday, Wednesday, and the other is Tuesday, Thursday.
Yes, thank you. You have the option for every assignment for due dates by section, which is really, really cool. So even if you're teaching traditional and there's nothing online whatsoever, and you're teaching a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday class and a Tuesday, Thursday class, you can go into that course and say that this section's due dates are on these days and this section's due dates are on these days. It works just fine. It works really, really well. So that can be very, very handy. Now, of course, one of the things that, as we work with our pilot instructors, they recommended that we leave it by default separated out. That's the way it was before. That's the way we're going to leave it by default in Canvas. The only way we're going to combine is on request. I used to say hopefully by fall term. Now, with all the other projects that have come on board, hopefully by spring of 2014, we will have a web-based tool that instructors can log into and say, I want to combine together these classes so that you set up those courses you want to combine. And we'll give you a deadline by which you need to say that, and then we'll create all the courses for the term. We'll probably give you a week to decide which ones you want to combine together and then combine those. Typically, just as a rule of thumb, what most instructors seem to do is they'll keep their, let's say, I'll just use my wife for an example. She doesn't teach 5, but if she were teaching 5 History 101 sections, maybe she was teaching a web, 2 hybrids, and 2 traditional. She would combine the traditional, she would combine the hybrids, she would leave the web by itself. She would keep those separate. Because the web, those dates for those tests may be entirely different than the tests that are in the class. They may range over days instead of a single day. They could be very different. And if you're going to have totally different assignments, whereas in the web they actually take the assignments online, and in the class they actually take them on paper, you probably want to keep those kinds of things separate, and you'll see why when we go over that stuff in the gradebook when we get to that point. Did that answer your question? Very good. Users is going to be very much like the people. This is just an instructor viewpoint for that. So we can go in here and see students, observers, designers, teachers, TAs. Again, we pretty much just use teachers and students. We are administrators. We will never appear in your course, but you can see that information here. External tools is something you shouldn't have to worry with. If you want to, you can go in here and you can play with this, read some documentation. This is where we added the YouTube tool, the TED Ed tool, and those different tools that we went over in the content page earlier, the math equation tool, things like that. And we added those at the system level. If you do find a really neat external tool that you decided to go out and play with and you think it could be useful, please let us know so that we can add it at the system level, because if you add it here as an instructor, it's only available in your course. But if we add it at the system level, it can be available to all courses. So please let us know. So those are the items and settings there. And then we've got all this neat little stuff on this right-hand side. The very first one is wonderful. In the olden days, we used to have to log into Blackboard, and in the first class we taught, I got a big round of cackles because apparently nobody actually knew this, which was kind of funny. You can log on to Blackboard right now as firstname.lastname.student. So anthony.hardy.student, and I log in as a student to any course that I'm teaching. And I'm enrolled as a student in that course as a totally separate user. And I can take assignments, turn in assignments, take quizzes, tests, whatever, and I can do all those things. You don't have to have a separate user for that in Canvas. You go to course settings. Remember, there were two settings. There's the user settings up top, course settings down at the bottom left. You go to course settings and then go to student view. And that's going to have you logged in as a test student. So if you go to your gradebook and you see test student, you go, what is this mess? That's your student user. Your test student user that's only enrolled in that one course. You're not going to see anything else from any other course that's tied to that one specific course only. You also have course statistics, which can have some basically somewhat useful information. You've got some information in here about how many different types of items you may have in the course. So you may come in here and go, well, why don't I have more of this? This may be helpful in a review situation. You can take a look at the assignments, see how many submissions were done for the term for that particular course of any kind of assignment. Students, how your students were recently logged in. And your file storage, again, we have 500 megabytes, so remember we talked about YouTube. Upload videos, large things like that to YouTube. Don't put them directly in your course. Go back to settings. The course calendar. This is exactly like the calendar we looked at up here, only if you'll note, it's already got all the other courses and other items unchecked for you. Conclude this course. Please do not do that. That will literally close the course out, and students will not be able to do anything else within the course. So do not click conclude this course if you see that. Do not click permanently delete this course. We cannot restore your course if you do that. That is a permanently delete solution. Copy this course. Please enter the details for the new course. This would copy it into a new course. What good is that going to do you? Not much. Because you as an instructor cannot enroll students in the course. You would think this is where course copy happens. No. It is not. Nope, you will not need copy this course. That was my first thought too. Copy this course. That's where course copy is. Nope. Nope. Import content into this course. That is your course copy. It's the one right below the one you think it's supposed to be. So if I click on import content into this course, and again I'm going to fly through this part. There's a whole video dedicated to this, so I'm going to fly through this. I can come here, copy this is the destination course. Now there's one item before this. Let me back up real quick. If this is the course that I want to copy all of my material into, this is going to be my destination course. I probably want to, if I've done anything to this course, You don't need to do anything. Don't do anything navigation, don't do anything at all. You probably want to reset course content. The reason you want to reset course content is when you import content into this course, that is an additive copy. That means anything you have done here, and then you're copying stuff into this course from somewhere else, both pieces are going to be there. So if you've been in this course playing around, like you're looking, it's spring 2013 right now, right at the end, and we're getting ready for summer 2013. If you're in a summer 2013 course and you're playing with stuff, and you're not doing that in a test course, and you've gone ahead and you created a couple of test quizzes or test modules or something, and you go into that course and you do import content, and you go to one of your spring courses that we put stuff into from Blackboard, and you copy that stuff over from Canvas course in spring to Canvas course in summer, all your play stuff plus all the stuff from spring is going to be there. So you can have both. It's an additive copy. So if you've played around, you're going to want to reset course content. If you have not played around, you're just fine. So I'm not actually going to go through the full process, but what you'll do is copy content from another Canvas course, and since you guys you don't have as many courses as I do, you're going to have a little drop down right below this blank that's going to list the courses that you're teaching. Since I'm an administrator, I have access to every course, which is, right now several hundred. So I'd have to type it in, but you guys can choose from your drop down. So I'm going to just start typing spring 2013, and it's going to start giving me the list, and I can pick the course from the list, and I'll say OAD 136. I'm just going to click on it. And I can click copy from this course. And now I have an option to copy everything, and that is everything from that course, from start to finish. Every test, everything from the course. Not the users, of course, but it's going to copy everything else from the course. If I don't want to copy everything, I can uncheck that, and it's going to give me the option for everywhere there's actual material within the course. It's going to give me the option to check that. So if I have all kinds of stuff, if I have tests, if I have all kinds of other things in there, I can go through there and pick the bits and pieces that I want to copy. So if you've got a test in one course, I can go into a destination course, copy, import content, uncheck copy everything, and pull in just that one piece that I want. In this case, I would say I want everything. You can also adjust events and due dates. Say you taught the course on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and you're going to change it to a Tuesday, Thursday. You can automatically do date ranges, so it will try to best fit your due dates for you. And again, I encourage you, even if you're in a traditional class, to set your due dates, because as we saw in our first video, students are going to see those due dates. If they're logging into Canvas, even a traditional course where they don't do anything at all in Canvas, they'll still see those due dates if you set them. So that can be very helpful for students. But you can do a day substitution. So everything that was on a Monday, move it to a Tuesday. Everything that was on a Wednesday, move it to a Tuesday. Everything that was on a Friday, move it to a Thursday. And again, this is not foolproof. It's not going to get everything exactly the way you want it, I guarantee it. But it should move a decent chunk of stuff around for you. You just need to go back through with a fine-tooth comb, just like you would with your course normally, and check everything. But hopefully, a decent amount of it will already have those day substitutions done for you. And you click Import Course Content. You'll see a little bar that goes across the screen. Take anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes. It'll show you the results of everything that copied, and you're done. Much easier than Blackboard. No fancy forms. So you don't have to go out to a different website to log in, anything like that. But it works rather well. Export course content, something you probably won't have to worry with too much. That's if you want to take it out of Canvas. We're not leaving Canvas anytime soon, so that will be fine. And again, the reset course content, as we covered in the previous instructions just a couple minutes ago, and in the first video of this session, actually resets everything within the course back to the default. So it undoes all of our navigation setup. It takes everything out of modules and deletes it. It resets everything within the course. Doesn't delete users, but any course content, tests, exams, grades, etc., gone. So you're not going to want to use that one very often. Now, with that reset, there is one little thing, and I'll cover that again when I go into assessments, but I'm going to mention it now too. when you reset course content, it's going to automatically create a group called assignments that's empty. So you'll see this when I went down to assignments, and again, this is a menu that's light that students can't see, that we turned it off permanently, but instructors can still get to it. And if we had assignments, they would be showing here, as well as in modules, because we would have linked them in modules if they were for something students wanted to turn in. But here, if we did not, when we reset course content, it will automatically create this assignments group. So if you don't want it and you just reset course content, go ahead and delete that before you even go and do your copy into course. Import course content. Sorry, these are the right words. So if you do a reset, before you do a course copy, do a reset, come over to assignments, delete this, then go over and do your import. Or you can delete this after you do your import. Either way, you'll just see an empty group of assignments that doesn't count for anything as a 0% of your grade. So that's most of these items on the right-hand side. Let me show you student view very quickly. I'm just going to click on student view. You can see I have recent activity. Again, that's our home page within the course. There's one announcement and one discussion. And if I click on grades, this is what it looks like for a student. It doesn't look like it does for an instructor. And you'll see more of this when we cover Gradebook in just a little while in the next video. The student can print grades. There's no assignment here, so I can't actually play with my grades, but there is an option for students to do what if, and they can enter in their own grades. Even on past assignments that you've already done grades for, they can change, quote unquote, change those grades. It doesn't actually change the grades. It just gives them what would have happened had they made a different grade, and it'll change their averages for them. What they can see in people is just you as a teacher. They can view user groups or registered services, and then of course modules, which you as an instructor notice they don't have any of the editing capabilities. They just simply click, and you can see, just as we saw before, we have our nice navigation buttons at the bottom of every section within modules, and that's why, again, why we really want to use modules, because we do get these wonderful navigation buttons, and it makes everything very, very easy for the students. Now, if I have gone in and maybe I'm teaching a hybrid or an online class or even a traditional class, and students are turning items in, I want students to turn items in through Canvas, and I want to test that. I can go into student view and actually turn those items in, and then leave student view, and I can actually grade those items as if it were a real student who just turned them in. So I can test the full procedure from start to finish, from the instructor creating the assignment or test or quiz, publishing that, making sure that's available, going in as a test student, taking that quiz or turning in the assignment, and then leaving student view, coming back in as the instructor and grading that assignment or quiz, and then going back in student view and seeing what that grade looks like. So I can go back and forth and see what the entire experience looks like from both sides. If I have done that and go, I found some bugs, let me go in and fix them, and I'll fix the bugs, and I want to do it from scratch like the student had never logged into the assignment again, you go into student view, and then there's a reset student button at the bottom. And what that will do is clear out any activity your test student had. Basically, it wipes out your test student and starts them over from scratch, so that you can retest things as if you've never taken it before. Because maybe you only have one attempt on a test. You don't want to let students have more than one attempt, and you don't want to change that option just so you don't ever accidentally forget to change it back. So they have more than one attempt. So you can go in and wipe that out by resetting student and then going in as a test student again and being able to take that attempt fresh like it was your first time. So leave student view, again, Canvas loves big blue buttons. So I can click leave student view and I come back out. As an instructor, this is the one of the final things we'll cover in this, again, very brief segment here, is a nice little section called Course Analytics, and that's from the main course page. So if you click on Home at the top of your course menu, that will take you within your course to the Course Analytics section. There's not a lot of stuff in here to see because this is a test course and nobody's logged in. But if you can see here, activity, and if you saw items here, each bar represents the number of page views on that day, and an orange bar indicates that some user took an action within the course on that day. So you can look and see how students are doing within your course with the activity area here. Now you're seeing dates going back to 2012. You won't see that within your course because those are based on the term start and stop dates, and the test courses are in a bogus term. if we were in a real term, you would see the term and start the term start and stop dates being, if we were in spring, it would be around the start of January, around with the beginning of May for the stop date. And for summer, the middle of May through whenever it is, the very beginning of August or whatever those dates are. Again, you've got just more information here. Assignments. Green layer represents the percentage of students that turned in the assignment on time. Late are yellow and red are missing. So this one can be really interesting, and of course there's no data here, but one of the things that you'll note as you move through a course with students in it is you'll see at the beginning of a course you have a lot of green bars. And as you move further on in the course, you start to see a little more yellow. And as you move further on, you see even more yellow, and then you start to see some reds. And again, you can't see that here, but what that means is, and you guys know this as instructors, further on through the course, more students are late with assignments, and more students are not even turning them in. And that seems to be true throughout Canvas. Then we go down, we've got grades, and this will show us all kinds of good data on grades. You can read all about that. And then we've got per student, page views, participations, assignments, and their current score. So we can see whether or not they're looking at pages based compared to other students, where they should be within the course, 0 participations within the course, 0 assignments on time, 0 late, 0 missing. So that was, again, you'll see green, yellow, and red within that bar. So you can really very visually tell if a student looks like they're in trouble. You'll probably know anyway, our courses are not that big, but this is a very good visual indicator to be able to see that. If you click on the link here, you're going to go over to individual bits and pieces just for that specific student. So you can see activity for that student, communication for that student, assignments for that student, grades for that individual student. So there's a lot of really good information within the course to be seen. Now there's one other item within modules that I want to cover, and this one's called View Progress. And this is kind of handy. You can see where a student is within the course. So if a student has looked at a specific item, you'll see the check mark. Or if they have made a certain grade, you'll see the check mark. If they have not, this will be in bold and will not be checked, and will say either not started or in progress if they have gotten close to it, or if that's the next item they're supposed to be looking at. So you can very quickly sort through your courses and your students and tell who is actually doing what they're supposed to do, who is working ahead, who is lagging behind, by being able to look at this. Now there's another little piece within course modules, and I keep saying this is the last thing, but this one actually is the last thing. Promise? Because we got to end fairly quickly. Within the modules themselves, and you might have seen this earlier, but we didn't cover it. We saw a lock module until a given date. But now that we have multiple modules, we can define prerequisites so that the student can't even get into anything within the module until these items are completed. Or we can define what it means for a module to be complete. So let's start here with our tests module, and let's edit that one. So we make sure we're not on any of the items within the module, we're on the module itself, and we click on edit. And we can add a prerequisite, and this prerequisite says they must complete course materials before they can view this module. So I'm going to click Update Module, and we can see at the bottom, Prerequisites Course Materials. Now at this point in time, what does it do? Not a darn thing, because we don't know what it means to complete course materials, right? So we need to go to Course Materials and define what it means to complete course materials. This module is complete when the users have viewed the item, and that was what we were using for our fake syllabus, and they also have to view the page. Or they can contribute to the page if we had it open for them to edit. In this case, we're just going to do view the item. Now, if we had a quiz or a discussion or something like that, those items will be here, and they have different things for users must. So if there was a quiz, the user must score a certain score, or they just must take the quiz. You can do any number of different things before they can actually get there. And you can also say they must move through this module in sequential order. So they have, in other words, now because I've said they have to do both of these things before the module is done, and they also have to do them in order from top to bottom. So they have to look at this social media report before they can look at page 1. And then they have to do both of those things before they can get to topic 2 in discussions that's in test area. And you can do that as detailed or as little as you'd like. Be very careful, test thoroughly. Very important, test thoroughly. And if you have a problem, turn it off. It's not that hard to set up if you think about it and do it all beforehand, but draw it out on a piece of paper and think about it very thoroughly beforehand and start from the top to the bottom and say they need to complete this before they can get to this. They need to complete, and be very general. Don't get too specific, because then you'll really cause yourself problems. You can get too detailed with this. And then what do? All you're doing is getting in the way of students learning. Keep it, that is probably as detailed as I would ever do it. And that is the last item that we will cover in this section, which deals with settings and some of the more advanced features of modules. And then we'll take another 5-minute break, and when we come back, we will cover Gradebook. And we will do a 2-hour Gradebook session in 1 hour. Yay!